Hello all, this is my next video in the series of clinically oriented anatomy case-based questions and answers with explanations, which will help in integrating the knowledge of anatomy with clinical aspects. This video has 5 clinical scenario-based MCQs related to lower limb part 1. Coming to scenario 1, a 27-year-old football player sustains a knee injury while his foot is planted and his body is twisted in the opposite direction. On examination, he is found to have an anterior drawer sign positive, suggesting injury to a knee ligament. What other injuries might be associated with this knee injury? The options are A. Medial collateral ligament and lateral meniscus, B. Posterior cruciate ligament and medial meniscus, C. Lateral meniscus and fibular collateral ligament, D. Medial meniscus and tibial collateral ligament. The correct answer is D. Medial meniscus and tibial collateral ligament. Coming to the stem of the question, on examination it is seen that anterior drawer sign is positive, suggesting injury to a knee ligament. Anterior drawer sign is positive when there is tear or rupture of anterior cruciate ligament. As we can see here, the anterior drawer sign is the sign in which there is anterior displacement of tibia due to injury to the rupture of anterior cruciate ligament, whereas posterior drawer sign will be positive in case of rupture of posterior cruciate ligament where the tibia displaces posteriorly. So in this case there is injury to anterior cruciate ligament. Most commonly there are two other structures which are also injured along with anterior cruciate ligament because of such scenario, and they are tibial collateral, that is medial collateral ligament, and medial meniscus. Commonly these three structures are injured during such sports players, and this is known as the unhappy triad of knee. Now medial meniscus is more commonly ruptured than the lateral meniscus because the medial meniscus is adherent to the deeper fibers of tibial collateral ligament. So along with it the tibial collateral ligament is also ruptured, but the lateral meniscus, it is separated from fibular collateral ligament by the tendon of popliteus muscle. The lateral meniscus is protected by the popliteus which pulls it backwards so that it is not crushed between the articular surfaces, whereas the medial meniscus is more commonly ruptured because of its fixity to the tibial collateral ligament and because of the greater excursion during rotatory movement. So these are the three structures which are commonly injured, known as unhappy triad of knee. So along with the anterior cruciate ligament, there is injury to medial meniscus and tibial collateral ligament. Now coming to scenario 2, while crossing the street, a 31-year-old woman is struck by an automobile on the lateral side of her leg, just below the knee. Her fibular neck is broken. After her cast is removed, she is found to have a foot drop and an inability to evert the foot. Which nerve is most likely injured? The options are A. Common peroneal or fibular nerve, B. Tibial nerve, C. Femoral nerve, D. Sciatic nerve. The correct answer is A. Common peroneal or fibular nerve. So the patient has foot drop, and that is because of injury to a nerve, and that nerve is related to the neck of fibula. In addition, there is also inability to evert the foot. Out of all the nerves given, the common peroneal or fibular nerve is the nerve which is related to the posterolateral aspect of the neck of fibula. The common peroneal and the tibial nerve are the branches of sciatic nerve given in the popliteal fossa. The common peroneal further divides into superficial peroneal and the deep peroneal nerves. Superficial peroneal nerve supplies fibularis longus and brevis, also known as peroneus longus and peroneus brevis, which are the main everters of the foot, whereas the deep peroneal or deep fibular nerve supplies the muscles of anterior compartment of leg, which are the dorsiflexors of the foot. So injury to the common peroneal nerve will lead to paralysis of dorsiflexors, leading to foot drop, and also the paralysis of peroneus longus and brevis, and that will lead to inability to evert the foot. So this patient will have foot drop, and in addition inability to evert the foot, and the nerve likely to be injured because of this neck fracture of neck of fibula is the common peroneal nerve. The tibial nerve is not correct because it supplies the plantar flexors of the foot. Femoral also doesn't supply the muscles which cause the dorsiflexion or eversion of the foot. And sciatic nerve, though sciatic nerve may lead to foot drop, but the sciatic nerve is not related to the neck of fibula. So the correct answer is common peroneal nerve. Scenario 3. A young boy broke a glass jar and unknowingly put his bare foot on a piece of broken glass, leading to injury to the lateral plantar nerve. Which of the following muscles is most likely to be paralyzed? The options are A. Flexor digitorum brevis, B. First lumbrical, C. Abductor digiti minimi, D. Flexor hallucis brevis. The correct answer is C. Abductor digiti minimi. So the injury here is the lateral plantar nerve, and in the given options all the muscles A, B and D are supplied by medial plantar nerve except C, that is abductor digiti minimi, which is supplied by the lateral plantar nerve. So the correct answer is abductor digiti minimi. All the muscles of the sole of the foot supplied either by medial or lateral plantar nerve. There are only 4 muscles supplied by medial plantar nerve, namely abductor hallucis, flexor digitorum brevis, first lumbrical and flexor hallucis brevis, whereas all other muscles of the sole of foot are supplied by lateral plantar nerve. So the correct answer here will be the abductor digiti minimi. Scenario 4. A 63-year-old man recently had a coronary bypass surgery in which the great saphenous vein was harvested for re-establishing coronary blood flow. Following the surgery, he complained of loss of sensation in the cutaneous area noted in the figure below in the limb from which the vein was harvested. So this is the region where there is loss of sensation. Which of the following nerves was most likely damaged during the surgery? The options are A. Superficial peroneal or fibular nerve, B. Sural nerve, C. Deep peroneal or fibular nerve, D. Saphenous nerve. The correct option is D. Saphenous nerve. So the great saphenous vein was taken for the coronary bypass surgery, and the great saphenous vein is accompanied by the saphenous nerve here in this part along the medial side of leg. The saphenous nerve supplies the skin of the medial side of leg and the medial border of foot up to the base of the big toe, and saphenous nerve accompanies the great saphenous vein. So the most likely nerve to be injured will be the saphenous nerve. So as we can see in the figure, the saphenous nerve, which is a branch of femoral nerve, supplies the skin of the medial side of leg and the medial border of foot up to the base of big toe, whereas the superficial peroneal nerve supplies the skin of the lower 1/3 of the lateral side of leg and the skin of dorsum of foot, except the skin on the lateral border of the foot, which is supplied by sural nerve. Also the skin of the cleft between the first and second toe, which is supplied by the deep peroneal nerve. So the correct answer is the saphenous nerve. Now coming to scenario 5. A 46-year-old man suffers a dislocation of the right hip in a car accident. During recovery, he finds he has an abnormal gait in which his left hip sags when he lifts that foot to take a step as shown in the given figure. The condition may be the result of damage to which of the following structures? The options are A. Left gluteus medius and inferior gluteal nerve, B. Right gluteus medius and superior gluteal nerve, C. Left gluteus minimus and superior gluteal nerve, D. Right gluteus minimus and inferior gluteal nerve. The correct option is B. Right gluteus medius and superior gluteal nerve. So as we can see in the figure, when the patient supports the limb on the right foot, raising the left foot off the ground, there is sagging of the pelvis on the left side. So this is known as the positive Trendelenburg's sign. Normally, when the normal gait of the person depends on the proper abductor mechanism at both the hips. This mechanism comprises one, adequate power provided by gluteus medius and minimus muscles, then the fulcrum, which is formed by normal relationship of the head of the femur and the acetabulum, and third is the weight transmitted by the head and neck of the femur. Normally, when the body weight is supported on one limb, as we can see here, the gluteus medius and minimus of supported side, for example here on the right side, raise the opposite unsupported side of the pelvis. However, if the abductor mechanism is defective, then the unsupported side of the pelvis will drop or sag, as we can see here, and this is the positive Trendelenburg sign. The sign is positive in defects of power, that is weakness or paralysis of gluteus medius and minimus muscle, which might be because of injury to the nerve supplying them, that is superior gluteal nerve, or maybe because of the defects of the weight, that is ununited fracture of the neck of the femur, or congenital or pathological dislocation of the hip. So when the patient tries to stand on the paralyzed side, then the opposite unsupported side will drop down. So if suppose the right gluteus medius and minimus are paralyzed, then left side of the pelvis will drop down. Now when gluteus medius and minimus of this right side are paralyzed, the patient cannot walk normally. He will bend or waddle on the right side or paralyzed side to clear the opposite foot, that is left, off the ground. So this is known as lurching gait, and when bilateral it is also called waddling gait. So in this case, because there is sagging of the left side of the pelvis, so the muscle affected will be the right, that is right gluteus and medius or maybe minimus, and the nerve supplying them, and that is the superior gluteal nerve. So thank you, and like and subscribe my channel for more such case-based scenarios involving clinical anatomy of all the regions of the body. Thank you.